Instant read thermometers are an essential tool in my kitchen. You can get a number of different kinds. You can get a digital read thermometer like this one. This thermometer requires a battery, so you need to take care to make sure this is turned off in the drawer. Or you can get a dial face thermometer, which looks like this. This one doesn't require a battery. I always keep one of these on hand just in case the batteries in my digital thermometer have died. So you have your choice of two different types. It's important to distinguish between the two types of thermometers we have here. In a dial face thermometer, if you look down the probe, you will see that a ways up from the pointed tip, there's a small dimple. That dimple is where the temperature sensor is in this particular thermometer. It's important to make sure that the thermometer is inserted into whatever food you're checking beyond that dimple to get an accurate reading. If you're using a digital thermometer, the temperature probe in a digital thermometer is in the very tip. You don't have to insert this one as far into the food, so this one is a little bit easier to use, particularly if you're checking the temperature of a thin piece of food like a pork chop or a small chicken breast. You can use these for checking temperatures of all kinds of food, not just meat. We use them sometimes when we're making candies, not sugar candies, but chocolate. We use them for taking temperatures of cooked custards on the stove or even a cooked custard in the oven. You can also check the temperature of the interior of a loaf of bread. 190 degrees is the magic temperature to make sure that your bread is done. So when you're using this thermometer to check the temperature of whatever kind of food, it's important to check the thickest part. If you're checking the temperature of a roast chicken, for example, you'll want to insert the probe into the thickest part of the chicken, which is typically near the thigh, and then wait until the flashing stops and it will tell you what temperature your meat is at. When you're checking the temperature of any kind of fowl or a piece of meat with bone in it, make sure that the temperature probe does not rest on the bone because it will give you an inaccurate reading. Bones tend to be hotter than the surrounding meat. I always recommend checking the temperature of a piece of meat in more than one place. So on a chicken, I might check the thigh in a couple of different places. I might also check the breast, and if I don't want to make a hole in the top of my chicken, I will go in from the side to do that. Now, for example, if I were checking the temperature of pork chops that were coming out of the oven, or even on the stovetop, for a pork chop this size, I could certainly go down through the top, but it might make an unsightly hole in my pork chop, so I would go in from the side. To do that, make sure I insert the thermometer all the way to the center. It's very important to use this technique when you're checking the temperature of a thinner piece of food. For example, a very thin cut pork chop, go in from the side, otherwise you won't have enough inserted to get a true reading. The other thing that you'll find with these particular thermometers is that they come with a sheath which keep them safe in the drawer. You need to be sure that you clean the shaft very, very well before you put this away to prevent cross-contamination. But on the sheath there's a little hole, and this is for inserting the thermometer. So if you need to hold this into a pan of cooking custard, you can hold it there. It's not going to clip on the side of the pan, but it will hold there so that you can steady it and get an accurate reading of the temperature of your custard. No matter which type of thermometer you choose, be sure that you always clean it. Take good care of it. It will last a very long time, and I know that you will find this is an essential tool in your kitchen as much as it is in mine.